all, it's me, Elisan. Today, I'm going to be doing another book review of a novel called Ghost Boys, and it's by Jewel Parker Rhodes. What made me pick up this book was the cover art. It's bright red, and there are red stop signs on the cover, and on the bottom is half a face of a black boy. And something about this cover made me feel as if something was captivating in the story. To give you a better look, it looks something like this. And after I read this book, I definitely don't regret reading it. It's not one of the books that make you feel very happy in the end because it tells you the harsh reality of today's society. To get into the summary of the story without any spoilers, this is about Jerome Park, who's a 12-year-old black boy who gets shot and murdered by a white police officer who mistakes his toy gun for a threat. And yet another innocent boy dying by a guilty officer. And in this book, as we see, has different sections. For example, it has dead, and it also has another dead section. And like this, he switches in between his memories when he was alive and when he was dead. When looking at these different transitions, we realize that Jerome is just a boy who wants to live his life and who just had a toy in his hands. There are 3 reasons why I want you to read this book. First, it talks about Emmett Till. For those of you who don't know who Emmett Till is, he's a victim of a true story of white men in the village coming and shooting him multiple times in a horrific way and hanging him. The only thing that he did was accidentally touch a white woman's hands. And although this might be tens of years ago, it's still horrific how they didn't treat him like a human. And in the story, Emmett Till does come out as a character. Second, to learn how these boys feel when they're murdered and they are a ghost looking over their families. And third, to see how we as a society often deny the truths that we blatantly see and might support people who are of a higher status. And Ghost Boy, the only reason not to read it would be the terror. It might shock you about learning about these realities. This book is very realistic. It actually tells you the horrific scenes, which is something that I enjoyed, but it might not be reader appropriate. I want to read the first page out to you as a way to figure it out. But before I read the first page of the story, I want to read the dedications. Dedicated to the belief that we can all do better, be better, and live better. We owe our best to each and every child. And that dedication shows that whether you're black, Asian, Latino, white, whatever race you are, you deserve to be honored and you deserve to be treated like a human being. Now to read the first page. Dead. How small I look, laid out flat, my stomach touching ground, my right knee bent, and my brand new Nikes stained with blood. I stoop and stare at my face, my right cheek flattened on concrete. My eyes are wide open, my mouth too, I'm dead. I thought I was bigger, tough, but I'm just a bit of nothing. My arms are outstretched like I was trying to fly like Superman. I barely turned, sprinting, pow pow, 2 bullets, legs gave away, I fell flat hard. I hit snowy ground. Ma's running, she's wailing, my boy, my boy. A policeman holds her back. Another policeman stands over me murmuring, it's a kid. It's a kid. Just reading the first page, Can you feel the pain of the boy who's looking at his own dead body and looking at the atrocity that's been caused to him? And his mother. That's the pain that they feel. Now, the second page, I'm going to read the first half of it to complete Ma's feelings. Ma's struggling. She gasps like she can't breathe. She falls to her knees and screams, "I can't bear the sound." Sally's wail. Other cops are coming. Did someone call an ambulance? You can see that she feels horrible. That she feels like her world is crashing down on her. And one of my least favorite quotes in this novel is, "Officer, I had no choice. Jerome Rogers shot and abandoned Green Street lots. Officer said he had a gun." Isn't that so horrific? The fact that he was holding a toy gun, a black boy was holding a toy gun, was a reason for him to die? And that's why this novel is such a must read. Because you need to see the truths. And therefore I say, it's a to-go book, you must read it, and if you do pick it up, you will not be able to let it go. Now for those of you who have no time, you can run along. But for those of you who are willing for a deeper analysis, let's go on. Now, the titles in each of the chapters do tell a story on themselves. For example, there's a title of Listening, Tell No Lies, Rome, Carlos, Wandering. Each of the titles so properly represent what they're going to talk about in the chapter. And one of my favorite quotes in this book is, "It's okay, Jerome. I understand." This is coming from a white girl who is the daughter of the police officer who murdered Jerome. And she sees him as a ghost. And she tells him she understands. And although I'm sure that she may not fully understand the consequence and the experience, but she's able to feel empathy. And I hope that by reading this book and by spreading awareness about these issues, whether you're white or you're Asian or you're black or whether you're any kind of an ethnicity, you will be able to feel empathy with other people. And the last thing that I want to say about Ghost Boys is that it really tells us the victim story, the victim side of it. Although a lot of books, minority books, talk about this, they don't talk about it from the perspective of someone who's dead. They talk about it in the perspective of someone who's watching that person be killed, who's watching their friends be murdered, but never as a ghost who watches this whole situation. And therefore, this book, part of the Minority series, is really phenomenal. So aside from this book, just to give a brief introduction, I am Ellie Son, and I run a YouTube video on reviewing books.